It is very healthy to see and take note of your own selfishness and your own greed. And sometimes we need people around us to show us that greed and show us that selfishness where we can't see it. And that's why trusted friends are so helpful. But even specifically with an example of pornography, I think the statistic, I should have looked up the figure before saying this, but somewhere in the ballpark of around 90% of men in the church before the age of 18 have been exposed to porn, and somewhere above 50% of women by the age of 18 have been exposed to porn. And what that does is it teaches us to objectify people, to see people not as human beings created in God's image with lots of love and with a whole personality, with a life as complex as our own. But we shift to, as many places the Bible say, these wicked imaginations that we have, and we see people as objects or things for our own amusement or pleasure, rather than a whole person that can see inside of us, and we can see inside of them and their soul and get to know them, and that they have deep inner machinations and experiences and their own personality, and that they bear God's image, that they reflect God's image because they were made in His image. And so there's so much more value to a person than what porn would teach us to think of people as. And that is especially dangerous in the internet. Even if you're not exposed to those things, it's in everything that we consume, especially in the US. It's treated as a normal thing. One stupid example is that when I started playing Marvel Rivals, I was really excited because I was like, oh my gosh, the game that I love, Overwatch, is playable again. Because Overwatch had very bad design decisions, and you couldn't play the team game that it was originally. It didn't really exist anywhere that I knew of. And then Marvel Rivals came out, like, this is it, this is the game. And I had to make the hard decision to just stop playing that game. I was telling people about Jesus, I was enjoying the game and playing that team game, and I had some fun moments in it, but it got worse and worse with them putting, essentially, there's no other way to put it, just straight up naked women in the game, just entirely naked. And there's nothing that is worth exposing myself to that. It's already as hard as it is, and so it's not worth exposing myself to those things. And so I just don't play that game anymore. And I've had an amazing time playing games with people in the places that God leads me to love people and get to hang out and enjoy good godly fun playing video games with people. So I say all this to lead back to that original idea of focusing on your own greed and selfishness and seeing where that is. Now, I say focus on it, but it's not that you should dwell on it and beat yourself up, because that's from the devil. And so Jesus teaches us that if you have the faith of a mustard seed, God can multiply that. So a mustard seed is the smallest seed. It's itty, 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 itty bitty. And it grows into one of the biggest trees. And so that's what he's saying. You bring the small faith that you have and small trust that you have to God, and He'll multiply it more than you could imagine.